Hello dear colleagues, my name is Al-Muhammad, and today we have an acute symptomatic high-grade proximal stenosis of the right internal carotid artery, which we've treated with PTA and stenting. In this intervention, we've used a relatively new stent with a thrombogenicity reductive coating, and the stent is called Caresto from the company Acandis with a heel coating, and it is a tapered stent, which means that the distal diameter of the stent is smaller than the proximal diameter. The patient was 53 years old, heavy smoker with arteriosclerosis, hypertension, and she had an acute left-sided hemihypesthesia and hemiparesis. In total, 7 points in an IHSS score. On the left side, we have the materials and devices that we've used. And on the right side, we have the protocol of the dual antiplatelet therapy. The patient has received 500 mg intravenous aspirin as a loading dose, 4,000 units intravenous heparin in 5 hours after the intervention, after excluding intracranial hemorrhage, 300 mg clopidogrel orally as a loading dose, and starting the following day, 100 mg aspirin once daily for life, and 75 mg clopidogrel once daily for 3 months. And here we go. We insert the long sheath neuron max with the select catheter in the aorta, configure the select sidewinder, and navigate the right common carotid artery. And from our position, we perform a 2D angiogram to see the situation, and we don't navigate the stenosis before treating it. And here's our first 2D angiogram. And now we move to the stenosis of the ICA, and here's the high-grade ICA stenosis. Please note that this is a 2D angiogram, which could be misleading. That's why we should consider other modalities like CTA and CT perfusion. And now we prepare our materials and devices. This is the PTA balloon Sterling monorail 5 by 20 millimeters, and this is the manometer inflator. And we flush it with water, and then we put it inside the contrast agent and fill it with pure contrast agent. And now we take a syringe, fill it with contrast agent, and fill the hub of the balloon with contrast agent, and after that we aspirate a little bit and knock on the syringe to get the air bubbles out of the balloon. And now we take the stent-specific materials and devices. In the stent package, we have the dilator and the stent, and here is the dilator. And here is the Caresto Stent. And now we take the Neuroslider 52, and at first we attach the dilator to saline and flush it. And now we remove the select catheter and attach the Neuroslider 52 to the saline of the select catheter and flush it. And now we put the dilator into the Neuroslider 52. And now we take the microwire and put it inside the dilator. We place the torquer at the proximal end and we shape the tip of the microwire. And now we put the wall system in the Neuroslider. And now we navigate the stenosis with the microwire. And now we push the dilator, which has 2 markers, to the distal parts of the ICA. And now we push the Neuroslider 52 into the ICA. And now we can remove the microwire with the dilator out of the Neuroslider. The Caresto stent looks like a flow diverter and is implanted just like a flow diverter. We flush the stent with saline, and now we push the stent into the neuroslider, and now we move the stent to the stenosis, and it's just like a flow diverter, and it gets shorter and shorter during the implantation. That's why we have to guarantee a good proximal landing zone. And now we start unsheathing the Caresto stent by pulling back the neuroslider. And as you can see, here we have reached the common carotid artery and we've implanted the wall stent. We need to get the neuroslider into the stent to maintain the entrance to the stent. And after that, we can remove the stent pusher. And now we need an exchange maneuver to remove the neuroslider catheter and insert the balloon without losing the adherence to the stent. That's why we take a 300 centimeter micro wire, and now we push the micro wire into the stent to the distal parts of the ICA. And with the help of the micro wire, we can remove the neuroslider and insert the balloon. And my colleague holds the long sheath NeuroMax, and I'm pulling back the neuroslider here, and the micro wire stays in place. And as you can see, the micro wire is still in place. And now we take the balloon. It's Sterling monorail 5 by 20 millimeters, and push it along the micro wire. And now we insert it in the NeuroMax long sheath. And through performing this maneuver, we are 100% that we are in the stent, and we can push the balloon to the stenosis. And now we start the PTA. And as long as we have an hourglass appearance, we haven't cracked the stenosis, so we continue the PTA till we get a cylinder shape of the balloon. And now we've cracked the stenosis. And now we wait a little bit, and after that we can deflate the balloon. And here we are starting deflating the balloon. And now we perform a 2D angiogram, and as you can see, there's no rest stenosis. But as you can see, the wall apposition of the proximal end of the stent isn't well, and we need to correct this distance between the stent and the wall. That's why we take the balloon to this place and perform a PTA-like maneuver. And after that, we perform a 2D angiogram. And here we can see the results. And now we have an ideal wall apposition of the stent. And since we are satisfied with the results, we can perform a 2D angiogram for the intracranial arteries to exclude any complications. And we have no complications, no occlusions. And so we've reached the end of our intervention. And as always, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. And you can contact us per email to email addresses, and further contact options are in the video descriptions below. Thanks for watching. That was Al Muhammad. Peace out.